So where are you right now? You think you're in a globe spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. That globe is spinning around the sun at 60,000 plus miles an hour. That solar system is flying sideways through the galaxy at 500,000 miles an hour, and that galaxy is going through the rest of the universe at millions of miles an hour, and you feel nothing. In reality, you are actually in a giant planetarium slash terrarium slash soundstage slash Hollywood backlot that is so big that you and everyone you know and everyone you've ever known never figured it out.
At 17,000 miles an hour, the second stage leaves the abandoned first stage far behind as it soars 5,000 miles downrange. The curvature of the Earth is plainly visible.
I have a beautiful view of the S4B and the Earth here all in one. I'll try to get a picture for you.
Our planet is beautiful. It's not really a planet. It's a great big plane.
A strange message. The words Google Flat Earth were carved into Mount Rubidoux.
How would you feel if I say there's absolutely zero real pictures from space?
Flat Earth theory is actually getting pretty popular.
My children will have to pay for the rides that NASA gives.
The number of people who think the world is flat is growing. Thousands, if not millions of people.
A lie is a lie, even if everybody believes it.
These people live amongst us. I just want to point this out.
What drives such theories? Why are people flocking to this absurd belief?
Everybody's been fed, except now we've got, where's the silly chicken?
Right there.
Oh, having one of Mark's favorites. We're having iced applesauce with our...
It's not... I mean, it was one of my favorites when I was young.
Well, you like it now, too.
All right, so what do we have?
We're having chicken noodle soup, iced applesauce, and some rolls.
Homemade rolls?
Homemade rolls and homemade jam. He's spoiled.
I don't deserve you.
Okay, here we go. So Mark called and said that he was a member of the Flat Earth Society.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, Mark, what are you on to now?
How do you know it's a globe? Well, it's because you saw this. It's not like you've been up there in your Jetsons car. Nobody's got a spaceship. You've been looking at this for 30 years? Yeah, you can throw that away. This is the domed version of the flat Earth model. The South Pole, it's like a 200-foot wall of ice, straight up, Game of Thrones style. And the sun and the moon are just lights in the sky. I love movies, always have. And so I tried to compare it to The Truman Show. You know, The Truman Show was just a giant Hollywood stage 20 miles wide. If you built a stage that was 1,000 miles wide, how many people could you fool besides just Truman? Of course you're going to have questions. Everybody does, because it's like, okay, how does everything work? Here's a perfect example if you want to see it real quick. So like those buildings in the distance, right out there, that's Seattle. You shouldn't be able to see it. There should be hundreds of feet of curvature between us and them. You should barely be able to see the tops of those buildings. When you're doing the curvature of the Earth, here's what the Earth looks like. And what we're saying is, and of course this is exaggerated, is that if you're here, eventually, if there's an object far enough, you won't be able to see it over here because the curvature of the Earth puts it on the other side of the hill. And you could say, oh, well, it's refraction, or it's atmospheric effects, or it's mirage. It's like, no. Not in every weather condition, not in every light condition. Science is having a problem combating what we're doing. Neil deGrasse Tyson, I hate saying his name, we call him he who shall not be named, says that it's a growing anti-intellectual movement which borders on the end of civilization and democracy as we know it.
The Earth isn't flat. And by the way, this is called gravity.
The reason why we're winning versus science, against science, is science just throws math at us. Whereas we go and say, hey, by the way, there's Seattle. You can see it right now with your camera. That's it. A picture says 1,000 words. I was well versed in just about every conspiracy you can think of. I had heard about every conspiracy. Flat Earth was the last book on the shelf. It was the DVD that somebody gave you for Christmas that you knew you were never going to open because the title was horrible. It's like How to Make a Poop Sandwich, or Poop Sandwich Volume 3. But when you get bored enough with normal conspiracies, you're looking for something new. There was a certain novelty to it.
I do think that he gets a little off on some of the conspiracies. I don't think that everything is a conspiracy.
Mom's always doing the whole glass half full, and I'll go on and say, well, the glass is probably controlled by some sort of sinister group. There was a German video, the guy was talking about flight paths in the southern hemisphere, how they didn't make sense. And then I stumbled across a video by Matt Boylan, and he was the contract artist for NASA.
I guess this is a photo of the Hubble telescope taking a picture of itself. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And at a high-level NASA party out in the Hamptons, they told him the GPS system doesn't work out in Antarctica because the world is flat.
And they all started laughing. And my superior had quite a weird smirk on his face. He was watching me to see how I would take all this.
This is what it is. What do you think your first reaction is going to be? BS, no way. If you don't make fun of this the first time you see it, there's probably something wrong with you. I became a flat earther because I tried to debunk flat Earth. Everybody that becomes a flat earther does the same thing. They say it's a stupid idea, I'm going to debunk flat Earth, and then they get sucked in like the La Brea tar pits. When it came to this, I looked at it for literally 9 months before I finally turned around. The Jerry Maguire moment that I had, I remember the date, I remember the time, it was February 10th, 2015, 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning to be exact. And I woke up and I said, this is now going to flip. Once I had my arguments down, I made the series of videos. I tried to be as rational as possible. I did a lot of editing, and I made connections to dots that no one had done before. This is a Reader's Digest version containing many of the interesting parts of the flat Earth theory. The first question is invariably, is this a joke? Because it's a joke, right? And that's where we start, because it's one of our two basic childhood facts. 1 + 1 = 2, and the Earth is a globe. When I put the clues out, I partially thought that this whole thing was going to crash and burn, because I thought some guy with a master's in astrophysics or astronomy was going to call me up and say, you forgot to do this math, you forgot to carry the 2. And that's it, you screwed it up, you can shut down your channel now and everyone can go home. The first part of the clue is the utter lack of non-stop flights from anywhere in the southern hemisphere, or in the flat Earth model, the land masses closest to the outer ring. So I spend day after day looking at the Plane Finder global map. I need to watch a few as they cross either the South Pacific or Indian Oceans. For the first 30-45 days, I was just holding my breath. I wait for an ocean plane. And I wait, and I wait, and I wait some more. Hours pass, days pass, and no red planes to entertain me. And before I even got the first 5 clues out, people started responding to me. Someone said, I want to talk to you about this. In fact, it was a debunker site, a small-time debunker. We went into it, and then he started reviewing the clues, and next thing you know, he was on my side. And then another podcast picked up on him, and then it just started leapfrogging.
And we have Mark Sargent.
Your organization was amazing.
Hi, Mark Sargent.
Hi.
Who better to bring on than our very up-and-coming, quick-rising star, Mark Sargent?
Now I go into chat rooms and people freeze. Like, Mark Sargent's here. Like, come on, just be normal, be cool. I didn't want to wake up and do this. It was something that just seemed to happen. I didn't choose Flat Earth. Flat Earth chose me. So I spend day after day looking at the Plane Finder global map. I need to watch a few as they cross either the South Pacific or Indian Oceans. I wait for an ocean plane.
I first heard of people thinking that the Earth was flat, in elementary school, but in the context of history. I think it was in the last couple years that I heard that people are still believing this and making a lot of videos on it. So I started watching them because I was curious, and it's something.
Yeah, what's this guy doing? Seems to be going south. Where are you going, buddy? Where are you going, friend? Yeah, where's that coming from, if not the southern hemisphere? This is a very easy test to perform.
I'm not sure when I first heard about flat earthers. It was probably about 5 years or so ago. Probably on the internet, I'm sure.
I saw an article maybe 6 months ago. I found it fascinating, right? Because I'm like, if these people can pull it off, they're probably really, really smart.
First time I ever heard about the flat earthers was, I think, when I was in space last, and I saw the stuff on social media. I can't believe I'm talking about this.
How do flat Earth conspiracies theories make you feel, Leo? You feel positive about them?
I think someone told me maybe that there's still people who believe that the Earth is flat. And so I Googled, and then you find websites and YouTube videos.
879 videos? This man is prolific.
And I was fascinated, and I just jumped right in, and I was probably in that spiral for 3 or 4 hours, and I ended up subscribing to a podcast, a Flat Earth podcast, and listening.
This, like others in the series, is something you can just
Riveting. I would watch this for hours.
yourself.
They're wacky. They're bizarre. But yet they find this audience that believes them, takes them as gospel. There's enough of them, they can't just all be people wandering around with tinfoil hats all the time. These are fairly normal people, at least some of them.
We go in a little sports bar. A bartender runs over, and she goes, "You guys talking about flat Earth?" Yeah, why? And she goes, "High five."
You go into the office. Is someone a flat earther? You go to a restaurant. Is, the person making your food a flat earther? I don't know.
The very next day, I'm flying out, and I'm wearing a I Am Mark Sargent shirt. And you know where they go through the bag screens. This tall black kid, he motions me, like in Fight Club. "You Mark Sargent for real?" And I go, "Yeah, why?" And he goes, "I'm not kidding you." He winks at me, and he goes, "That's my name, too." And he hands me the bag without even checking it.
They're everywhere.
Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland. 5 years ago, I started doing this whole brain power program, bouncing balls off hammers, working on my penmanship, working on my memory. Titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc. And about 14 months ago, my brain coach, Michael Lavery, said, "Nathan, you got to look into flat Earth." And then the more I researched it, and then I found out that it's actually the biblical cosmology is a geocentric cosmology. Then I realized why they're hiding the truth. It's because they don't want anyone to know anything. They want people dumb, blind, deaf to the truth, so they can inject you with their vaccines and their public schooling and this heliocentric model, which is basically forced sun worship. Did you know they made up dinosaurs? People in the school system to perpetuate this 6 billion year old Earth. Oh, wait, the math doesn't work out. 14 billion year old Earth.
So I actually ran into a NASA employee at Starbucks, asked him why NASA means deceive in Hebrew. Technically, it's the word nashah, but It sounds so similar.
You hate Americans? Is that it?
Excuse me?
Yeah.
How the hell did you get that?
Well, I just got kicked out of Starbucks for asking NASA employee questions. I ended up getting kicked out of a bunch of Facebook groups, so then I started the group, the official Flat Earth and Globe discussion. It was slow start at first. I just added all my friends and said, hey, talk about Flat Earth. There's no cursing, no insults. That was about 14 months ago, and that's blossomed into 53,000 members. Excuse me. Can I ask you a question? Anyone ever told you the Earth is flat? What? I just feel like I have an obligation to tell people you don't live on a spinning ball. I've been telling them for years you didn't come from monkeys. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I run the largest flat Earth group in the world. We're actually filming a documentary about it, so that's how it's done right there. You want to hear some flat Earth music? Next level. Ice cold. Flat Earth model on my bezel. We got some good books right here. Firmament, Vaulted Dome of the Earth. George Orwell, 1984. Must read. This is Edward Hendry's masterpiece, The Greatest Lie on Earth. I'll just read you a little bit from the table of contents real quick. The first chapter is Samuel Rowbotham proved the Earth is flat. The idea people have of flat earthers is totally wrong. You know, they think they're total idiots and they live in their mom's basement and they believe everything anyone tells them. It's quite the opposite. We test everything. We're all either super successful or doing our own thing. And I've met hundreds of flat earthers and none of them are living in their mom's basement, so.
There are millions of flat earthers. It's a fantastic community. Look what flat earth has inspired. So I was the first one to do a flat earth license plate. And then just a slew of them. Everybody started coming in with them. They started changing up the words. It's flat to flat earth, NASA lies, all that fun stuff. There's Arizona, Arkansas, California. Probably trying to figure that one out yourself, aren't you? I'll give you 10 seconds. Ready?
It's flat. Inside each other.
Perfect. Wow, you're really good. Personalized license plates are not supposed to be negative. But when you look at NASA lies, what do you read? Nasal eyes. Could be a freaking a nose and throat doctor. You don't know. A lot of people realize that if you're a flat earther, you can only date flat earthers once you get into it, because it's too much of a paradigm shift. So there's now flat earth dating sites popping up. Ever since the whole flat earth thing started, I start getting merchandise in the mail. Flat earth paddleball thing with a globe at the end. It's a clever idea, you know, metaphorically. Have you seen this kitty? His name is Research Flat Earth, and like the curvature of the false globe model, he is missing. Every once in a while, someone will send me a book. It is not light reading. A flat Earth watch. I mean, seriously, flat Earth can be put on anything. This is a giant version of the license plate of my car. Flat Earth clock. And, of course, this thing right here. That's what makes this community different. Because with every other conspiracy, I'm not going to rattle them off, it's always this dark, sinister, evil. People feel bad about it. This thing really gives people a lot of positive energy, so much enthusiasm, as a matter of fact, that they make things. I mean, we've got songs.
Well, we did a little research, and we learned about curvature.
When's the last time somebody made a happy folk song about 9/11?
Greer? Well, I started in broadcasting, if you can call doing YouTube broadcasting, because my father owned a radio station. We've got the jukebox here that was in the lobby of the radio station when I was growing up. It's a 1973 Wurlitzer 1050. It is original, all original, except for the records, the 45s that are in it. Those are all my records. Morrissey, the lead singer for the band The Smiths, is very close to my heart. He was an inspiration to me when I was very young. The song Meat is Murder changed me to being vegan. He's not a flat earther, but there's still hope. Oh my gosh, I love cats. I don't know why I love them so much. They're beautiful and delicate and selective. Come on, that's good. I have a bunch of conspiracy books, a little vegan section. I have some books that are written by flat earthers, actually. Le Flat Earth. All the varying memes about flat Earth. Zen Garcia, firmament, vaulted dome of the Earth.
When I was first doing the flat Earth stuff, Patricia comes on a podcast. She wasn't making flat Earth videos. She wanted to interview flat Earthers. She was like the flat Earth reporter.
Hello and welcome to Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes.
Episode number 15. Episode number 68.
Episode number 159.
Mark, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having me. I could not be more excited about being on this show right now.
We started talking on Skype, and we'd have these marathon conversations, 3 and 4 hours long, and we just talk.
What happened that day in Flat Earth, what had happened during that past week, anything involving any sort of conspiracy. And then I said to him one day, why don't we just do a show? And I jokingly called them The Secret Show.
Where are you? She's late for everything. She's always late. 5 minutes. 5 of your...
Oh, there he is. Hello. Hey. All right, you ready to go?
Keep looking.
Don't save the best stuff for the... save the best stuff for the show. That's what I meant to say.
I know.
Hello and welcome to Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. This is episode number 174. This is The Secret Show. I'm Patricia Steer, and with me is Mark Sargent. Hello, Mark.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Did you get a chance to see the satellite that went down in Brazil?
Yes, I did see that. And,
Fascinating.
And it came down on a balloon.
And you say, how do satellites get up there? Balloons. And they laugh at you. It's like, okay, well, here's one. Me to you. Let's just talk. Just you and me, shall we? Let's bring it down.
Bring the lights down low.
Yeah.
When we started doing The Secret Show, and even before that, we had a lot of chemistry.
Within, I think, 2 or 3 weeks, she said, hey, thinking about coming down to Houston, visiting?
Since I was thinking about anyway moving to Seattle, which had nothing to do with him really, might as well go, check it out, and meet up with Mark to see if there's anything there. A go-see, as you might say.
She came up and we spent a weekend talking and comparing notes and just kind of getting to know each other.
It was really great. I want to go again. You start with the mail, and I'll go in live chat and see if anybody's actually listening to this show except us.
Something I think could have developed from that, to the point where we were kind of toying with the idea. She was thinking of buying in Seattle. I mean, she was seriously gearing up for this thing.
It ended up that I didn't end up moving there. Things happened in my life with another romantic relationship.
And then she moved to London for a year.
A few red flags I chose to ignore. Now in retrospect, I see. Should have not ignored them. Something goes wrong and she turns around and hauls all her stuff, moves all her stuff back at an enormous expense. And her cats. You know how much it costs to transfer cats to another country? A lot. I know you love cats, but get different cats. Bro Sanchez says, y'all make a good couple. Quit playing. LOL. No. Look, there's a reason why we've done this show as many times as we have. Exactly. We are a couple of friends. We do have love for each other. I mean, I can't really speak for him, but I do have love for him. I've told him this. It's a love I don't really quite understand. It's not like platonic love, and it's not like romantic love. We're both in a cause together, and that is a kind of love. Of course, the big news for today is the Flat Earth International Conference. The community has grown to such a size that not only are we having meetups on pretty much every given weekend in any major city, but now we're doing an international conference, which is in Raleigh, North Carolina in the fall. So I'm going to be doing the keynote speech on the first day. 90% of the Flat Earth community are in the closet. But now we're almost to that tipping point, because now there's celebrity references and there's mainstream media references. The sky is the limit. Probably literally. Ah, I see what you did there.
When Mark said that they were going to have this conference, and I thought, oh, right. And I said, how many are you expecting? Thinking that, 300. Well, shoot. They've already got, 1,000?
There's so many people that are excited. I mean, heck, the VIP thing sold out last night during my show.
I cannot believe how this thing has expanded. If there isn't something to be said for it, then why is it expanding the way it is?
Right.
Kyrie Irving, who plays for the Cavaliers, he recently said that he believes the world is flat. Is that a subject that you covered with him? Are you aware of that?
I wouldn't even know how to broach that topic.
Hey, AJ, do you want to talk about how you think the Earth is flat?
I do not think the world is flat. I'm just saying there's some stuff about it.
Hey, how do people actually believe the Earth is flat? I'm stumped, Kelly. I don't know how people believe that.
Round Earth or flat Earth?
Yeah.
Round Earth.
Oh, okay. You just drew a divide between them.
What is
happening?
Actually, no. Shaq goes the other way. Not debatable. It's flat. Kyrie, flat. Draymond, flat. What is going on in the world?
I often like to say that if you gave me 5 or 10 minutes with you, I can probably tease out some belief you have that your friends would think that that's a little bit strange. We tend to form the beliefs based on a couple things. One is our intuitions, just what feels right. Another is our subjective experience. For most of us who look out on the horizon, indeed, it looks flat.
That seems like a reasonable thing. And so you ask, okay, well, why are we saying that the Earth's round? If you don't have someone who's going to give you a satisfying answer, you might well then try to find alternatives.
It's what you can observe. You don't need complicated math formulas to figure out where you live. But the powers that should not be have told us so. And trust us, believe us. And we have. I did. We all did.
Something that you see a lot in science is imposter syndrome, which is a phenomenon where the more you know about a topic, the more you feel like you aren't actually an expert. You feel like you can't possibly be an authority on this. On the flip side, there's something called the Dunning-Kruger effect.
The Dunning-Kruger effect is a psychological finding that people who don't have knowledge or expertise about something tend to have a false confidence that they are, in fact, very knowledgeable about something.
It becomes this tendency to assume that you have all the facts, that what you know is everything that there is to know.
If you get online, you'll see pages and pages of so-called evidence that seems scientific, right? Here's an equation, here's a diagram, and you go, you know, maybe they're onto something there. Then I feel like that's just as good as an opinion of a physicist or a consensus of, 20 physicists.
We've all been brainwashed by scientism, by those priests of a new religion.
Science is just a search for truth, right? Science is a way of thinking, starting at I don't know, then chipping away at the I don't know through evidence with no motive on where it takes you. And you come up with a new idea, and the first thing that's going to happen is 10 people are going to try to figure out why it's wrong. Okay, it's called institutional disconfirmation. So when you have conviction, it's really well earned. So to have a vendetta against that is a little odd.
Science should have wiped us out literally in the first month. And it's the exact opposite. We're not just winning, we're crushing them because they don't know how to address it. Because they're not convinced they can knock it out, they don't want to get into the ring. We've got questions out there which they can't answer.
How much time do you have to spend on every theory that is out there, right? And many times the things that we are debating are not even theories, either because they're not falsifiable or sometimes they've already been falsified.
Absolutely ludicrous what they're teaching. You can't feel any of the movement, and they think we go faster than a bullet through space.
I'd say take physics. I mean, that's just fundamental. I mean, if you're driving in a car and I throw a ball up in the air, where's the ball going to come down? It's going to come down in my hand. Okay, it's not going to fly through the back windshield of my car.
So are there any scientists that are in flat Earth?
No, and they can't be. Once you get to a certain level of education, the education system more or less owns you. You're not allowed to do certain things. I mean, think of a teacher. Teachers have to get master's degrees. Yeah. So think of a normal educator if they came out and said that, no matter where they were.
Have you had any educators come out?
No.
No.
Are there any established professors, like from MIT, who are being swayed by the arguments of flat Earth?
That are willing to go on the record?
Well, I mean, there's always whistleblowers, you know. There's always some people that...
There are, and even if you're a tenured professor, I mean, if you come out with something like that, you can get drawn right out of your business. So, I mean, obviously there's a very real risk to their livelihood. I work for Denver International Airport as a consultant. I work for several of the city governments. I'm a forensic consultant for the Denver Police Department. I do the town of Lyman's entire IT. There are physics students out there, there's astrophysics students, and they're all arriving at these same conclusions. How is it that they could possibly all be wrong? And my response to that was that they are putting things in a perspective that they've been taught. Nobody wants to admit that they've been fooled, but the reality is it's happened to every one of us.
Confirmation bias is one of the most solid empirical findings in psychology. If I have a belief or an attitude, I will search for instances that confirm what I believe. And also, I'll find myself in a company with a lot of other people who think the same way as I do.
Of course, we always listen to Bob because he always just has a really good collection of information.
People think that, defining gravity by taking a microphone and dropping it on the ground and saying, there's gravity. It's like, yeah, that's gravity, bitches. I mean, it's laughable.
Appreciate it very much again.
You're welcome.
Did an awesome job.
It gives me a little bit of practice, for what I'm going to be doing in Raleigh. Are you going to that by any chance? Are you going to the conference in Raleigh? Bummer.
Flat Earth's positive. When flat earthers get together, it doesn't matter their background or whatever, it's like you connect on such a deep level.
Infinite plane, how does that work as far as a dome, celestial?
Yeah, Mark Sargent asked me about that. I'm not going to assume there's a dome until somebody can show me the curvature of the sky. Until I find out otherwise, I'm just going to say infinite. A lot of infighting becomes something of a lot of factions. We can't have agendas diverting us from the fact that we don't know if the world is, in fact, a ball or flat.
As you're looking at the model, you're looking at all different possibilities and making it come together and work. When it becomes about fighting, oh, you're lying about this, or that's not true, to me, that's not productive.
Flat Earth has camps. It is not unified by any degree. 70% of them believe that this is covered by some sort of dome. The other 30% believe that it's not covered and there's just more versions of this outside. I use Life of Brian as the one of the metaphors for how Flat Earth fragmented when it first came out. When he was running away from them when he drops his shoe.
He has given us a sign! Oh, he has given us a shoe!
Instantly, within I think less than 90 seconds, a series of religions formed around the dropping of the shoe.
Let us, like him, hold up one shoe and let the other be upon our... Oh, no, the shoe is a sign that we must gather shoes. Cast off the shoes, follow the goal!
No! There's a dome. There's no dome.
Infinite plane, it doesn't seem natural.
I guess it's a dome. Hold up the sandal as he has commanded. It is a shoe! It's a sandal!
The enclosed system, you're in a confinement model like the globe was.
Take the shoes and follow him!
There's competition everywhere. And because of that competition, you mix that with a little bit of conspiracy, a little bit of paranoia, people go off the freaking deep end. Matt is one of the, if not the oldest veterans of the Flat Earth community. And so when he throws a temper tantrum, everybody hears it.
This is what they're doing. There's a mutiny going on. The fact that you're here is like raising a red flag.
Who am I? My name is Matt Howard. I'm the reason why Edward Snowden spoke up.
When the Flat Earth thing started taking off after the clues were put out, people were calling me asking to interview him because I was one of the only people that knew Matt's phone number. And he's doing the whole aloof artist thing. It's like, oh, no, I don't give interviews. What do you think their follow-up question was? Well, how about you? Do you want to talk about Flat Earth? I go, sure, why not? Here's my spiel. Matt lost it. He went atomic. He did a series of videos and called into another podcast who was streaming live, called everybody out, is convinced that I worked for the government, that you, sitting here now, apparently this is a government safe house, and I am on the payroll. Matt wanted to be the king of Flat Earth, but he wanted to do it on his terms.
I started this. I'm the tension that caused the flat Earth. That's how the flat Earth started.
Which is not what happened. The community just kept growing bigger and bigger and bigger, and his voice just became lost in the wind, to where all of a sudden we started, the conference was announced down in North Carolina, and he was invited. And he said, no, I'm not going to do the comment. Why should I be in a room with you guys? You're nothing without me. That whole song and dance, and that was just annoying. So now it's getting more serious.
Mark Sargent is what I always thought. He's been sent in kind of an intelligence fashion, working with Hollywood. But Mark Sargent's not Mark Sargent. It's Warner Brothers. You idiots. And I told you. Warner Brothers has a deal with the Pentagon and the CIA.
Matt went on a complete tear.
Did he?
Cried and swore that he would have revenge. It's like, whatever, dude, you're still not coming to the conference. He's just thrashing. He's trying to tear everybody down if he can. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal, but it causes ripples with the ground troops. We're trying to look for stability to get to the point where it's accepted.
You cannot believe a flat earther theory without believing in some giant conspiracy. Because you have to have some reason why all this proof is wrong. And if it's wrong, then it had to have been faked. And if it was faked, well, there you go, there's your conspiracy. And what I always am most curious about is, why would someone bother to fake all this?
So when it comes to science, think of it this way. If you have 450 years of them showing you it's a globe, how much is that worth to them to keep it? It's worth everything.
But then, Mark, you have to go, who was behind the whole thing? I mean, that's the...
I know.
I wish I was in a conspiracy. That seems so exciting. I wish that I was getting paid off. I really do.
When I was in space, I got paid extra. $5 a day. That's how rich I got.
Well, I think of all of these conspiracies or belief systems as a spider's web. And from what I can see, the flat earth is the center of it all.
If you can start getting conspiracy theory into someone's head, it's amazing how suddenly everything seems this way.
They, the powers that should not be, are doing whatever they can with the vaccines, with the GMO foods, with the chemtrails.
The transgender push in the media, that they're trying to turn all the guys into girls and girls into guys.
Even the fear that there will be hijackers taking a plane and putting it through a building. By the way, I don't believe there were planes through buildings.
They seem to have to tell us and disclose to us what they're doing through media, movies, TV shows.
Who do you think are the real controllers?
I don't think there's anybody who knows who's at the top of the control grid. Some people point the finger at the Jews. Some say it's the Masons.
The Rothschilds and the Rockefellers.
Jesuits, Satanists.
The Vatican.
Yeah, ultimately, the Vatican.
There's bad people in all of those groups, and probably pretty normal people in all of those groups. Although I don't know if there's good Satanists.
Anybody who you can see or you know their name, they're merely a front for, you're never gonna know who the real controllers actually are.
Oftentimes, it actually starts with conventional wisdom isn't to be trusted, governments aren't to be trusted, scientists aren't to be trusted. And when you start with that premise, then you can get into all sorts of corners.
And I think what's really scary is what they're actually doing isn't just hiding the flat earth. It's the fact that they're still doing human sacrifice and blood rituals.
What source do you trust?
Myself. That's it. I've jokingly said if there's an event like I'll just use Boston bombing again, I'm not going to believe any of those events are real unless I get my leg blown off.
For many people, no matter what evidence you throw at them, they can come up with this more complicated and, in I think most of our eyes, less believable hypothesis.
I get amateur astronomers will say, I can see the moons of Jupiter. Go to a planetarium. Does Jupiter look like a sphere to you? Who's to say that when you walk out of that one, you're just not a much bigger one? Above the clouds, it is a display system.
There's this huge mound of evidence that most of us come to accept that really requires that you go through one after another and say, nope, I don't believe that, I don't believe that, here's a countervailing theory. It just can spiral on itself and have this sort of snowball effect.
The funny thing is that I'm a conspiracy realist, but there's conspiracies about me.
I look at episode 54 of Patricia Steer. These people I hired by section heads and supervisors in supervisor roles at NASA, the NSA, the FBI, the CIA. These aren't regular people.
It started off with me being called a shill, as if I'm doing this for money. And then I was called a flat earth honeypot, to bring men into flat earth and then steer them the wrong way because my last name is Steer.
So what Patricia does is she's so pretty. All these guys. But that's a part of the lure of narcissistic, psychopathic women.
I never thought that the name Patricia, which is my first name, would be spun into the fact that the last 3 letters are CIA in the word Patricia, which means I'm in the CIA, because the government would be that dumb. But okay, if people want to believe it. Other things that have been said, that I'm a reptilian and people see my eyes shape shift while I'm on YouTube, that I drink blood. The most recent one is that I'm transgender.
I mean, I even threw up a question one day, what's up with Patricia Steer, you know? Because I don't know, but I don't know.
Now, the thing about all of these things is I can't prove any of it wrong. I could and have shown people my birth certificate, my driver's license, photos of myself as a child, and they'll say, well, if you're CIA, all of that stuff can be constructed. People will still say you don't have a real family, that you don't have a brother and sister. There's nothing that I can do. So, anybody can believe whatever they want to believe about me, but I wonder if in their hearts, people who do that know they're lying, or are they so conspiratorial that they actually believe it? Then it makes me worry about maybe things I believe in. Am I like another version of them? But I know I'm not.
She gets a lot of hate because people love to hate her. She's become the villainess.
I gotta ask you, what's up with all the animosity?
All it is competition. That's all it is. You watched some of Matt's stuff.
Yeah.
Matt was the same.
Okay.
He actually called the conference Shillfest 2017.
Mark, you'll be right here. Cool. Can you say something?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
It's just weird how, like, all of a sudden, this whole movement of people believing in the flat Earth, just if you look on Google Trends, it's like spike.
We actually broke 1 million videos, physically 1 million videos, which is a lot, which means you're never going to get through them in your lifetime.
Yeah.
But if you type flat Earth into YouTube at the beginning of 2015, you came up with 50,000 hits, roughly, right? Search results.
Okay.
If you type it in this morning, I think it was at 19.3 or 19.4. I hadn't checked it since I got here. 19.4 million. It feels like it's part of something bigger.
Well, here it is, my 4 years of my life. I call it my flat earth rider. It's all electric. I love to work with wood, so decided to cover it in exotic hardwood. I'll get behind here, you can see me on the camera. The famous ride. Oh wow, it goes. It handles great. I really wanted to bring my bike to the conference. It's a good way to break some conversation. People that aren't even flat earthers, they go, wow, that's a cool looking bike you got there. And then I go, wow, this is my flat earth rider, you know, and then kind of flat smack them and go from there. I wanted to do something to contribute to it all, to help spread the word. And I didn't have experience in making videos. And I thought, well, I have special skills and abilities to maybe make some kind of physical model of the thing. Because when you see it in 3D, it's a little easier to get the concept. If somebody would have said to me 3 years ago that I'd be known as the first person in the world to make these flat earth models, I would have laughed and said, you're completely insane. But here we are, and it happened, and I don't know how it happened. The very first one I made for Mark Sargent had the Kig Dome on it. Over here is some examples of the newest ones. This one right here is number 33. 2 years in making FE models, September 11th, 2017. These little buttons I put on here to control the brightness. I'm a perfectionist, and as much as I'm selling these for, to me, they got to be perfect. For the bigger domes, it won't fit in my oven, so I had to make this little box right here. Hopefully I got that hooked up right. It's getting hot.